This is going to be a small book haul. This is from the Sonny Hill donation shed, and yeah, I've been really bad because of the football. I've actually not been reading at all. But anyway, I thought on the way home, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take a detour and have a look to see what is new in there. So I picked up 4 books. So the first one I picked up is Caesarea. I wasn't sure whether to get it or not, but then I read the blurb and I thought maybe I'm not really into like war books, but this essentially basically can read all that, to be fair. But yeah, but I was like humming and hawing. I was like, Cinnamon, you're not paying for it anyway, you might as well just give it a go. So I thought I'd give it a go, but usually this kind of genre isn't necessarily my kind of my go-to. I feel that sentence I've said quite a bit this year already, where I've read books that are completely usually out of my kind of zone I go for, but I've actually enjoyed them. So there's that one. I then picked up Never Look Away by Linwood Barclay. I've read other books by him. I think he did Elevator Pitch. I'm trying to read from all the way from where I am to the books that I've got. I think he did Elevator Pitch. No, is that Steve Cove? No, yeah, I think he did do it. I have no idea where it is on the thing. Yeah, it is. Yeah, he did do Elevator Pitch. I really like this one. This one sounded very interesting, but essentially it's about this mother who kind of goes away. When I say goes away, she kind of like disappears and stuff. And yeah, there's a blurb for it. The blurb sounded really interesting, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this one a go. I then picked up The First Crusade, The Call from the East by Peter Frankopan. I thought this would definitely be very interesting, especially during this time that's going on, how racists are using the St. George's flag. But this is basically about the Crusaders. If you weren't sure what the Crusaders were a bunch of Christians, and they were there to kind of protect Jerusalem. I know later on, from what I've heard, I've not gone in too deep into the like Crusaders and stuff. They kind of went a little bit, I don't know if off the rails is the right way of saying it, but it kind of, the way they kind of went a little bit to the extremist sort of way. I'm not sure, but I think this is just about like the first mission, when they first were kind of put together and stuff. So yeah, I thought this would be a very interesting read. And then the final book I picked up was The Forgiveness Project, and this is by Marina Cantazunio. But basically it's different stories of times where people have kind of gone through horrific things and they've chosen to forgive that person or whatever it is. And I thought this would be very, very interesting, because obviously Jesus tells us to forgive and stuff, and sometimes it's really hard to forgive, and even over like petty things. I used to be really bad. I used to hold grudges, like literally hold grudges for so long, and obviously that's not what Jesus tells us to do. He tells us to forgive people because he's forgiven us. But I thought this would be a very interesting read. Obviously this isn't necessarily a biblical thing, but it's going to go by the fact what happens when you forgive somebody, because not only just because, so in the Christian sense, just because Jesus tells us to forgive, but when we hold grudges, that actually makes us feel pretty worse, because we keep going about the situation over and over and over again. It can make us vengeful, we can be very bitter inside, and yeah, so that's why holding grudges on the best. But I thought this sounded very interesting to read. So yeah, that's it for this whole video. So bye guys.